I mentioned that. What are the requirements, again, to have a successful distribution of my content? Well, the content that I deliver, it must be compliant with the business rules and the distribution agreement. So the rights in that I have on my content, as well as the deal that I signed with the distribution outlet, that just needs to be obeyed. I cannot send content that I don't have rights to. And also, if I have an agreement that I have to send 75 titles a month, well, I have to send those 75 titles per month. The content, of course, must be in the appropriate format for a particular outlet. And format means, well, it's not only the encoding of the video file, that's also aspect ratio, audio, what are the requirements on the audio, what is the aspect ratio, are there subtitles required, all that needs to be correct. The video quality, of course, must be as good as possible. And while new media outlets in the past, like if you watch video on the web, and if you would do that like 3-4 years ago, you didn't really care all that much about the quality of that video. You were kind of happy if the video played in the first place. But as the market matures, the requirements in terms of quality go up for playback on the web. At this point, if you watch iPlayer, you want the quality of the video pretty much to be about as good as it is, at least on standard definition television. You're not willing to compromise too much on the quality, and now you probably want surround sound on your computer soon as well. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the information of what was published needs to be made available to all those other departments within the broadcaster's organization. Again, that wasn't very hard on linear broadcasting because, well, I had my broadcast schedule, and if I look at that, I knew exactly what went out when, which shows were aired. Now, with those new media outlets, that's a much more challenging problem because it goes to all those all those different outlets, and what went where, how many people watched it, all of that all of a sudden becomes a much more complex problem. So in order to achieve that and stay ahead of the game and be able to fulfill on those distribution challenges, you need an automatic system. And if I want to deploy an automatic system, I have a whole bunch of challenges that need to be overcome. First of all, challenges that surround the media. So we did the production, we gathered as much metadata as possible. So I want to make sure that when I send the content out, it is segmented in the right way. If I want to cut it down to 2-minute chunks for mobile distribution, I need to solve that problem. If I want bumpers at the beginning, I need to solve that problem. There are also metadata challenges. So if I send content to a video-on-demand platform, I need to provide the title, the synopsis of the show that I'm sending out. If it's pay-per-view, I need to provide the cost. The challenge with that is, first, I need to get it in the right format. And second, I need to get access within my internal systems. I need to make sure I get that metadata in the first place. Because again, this is about automation. I don't want somebody being there and typing in that information again. There are packaging challenges. So when I send the content out, there's typically, it's not only the video file. Clearly, nobody would know what it was about and what to do with it unless there's a manual process. So metadata goes with that at the very least. But typically, there are other pieces that go with it as well, like a JPEG image. Because if I put a link to this content on my website, I need something to click on. Typically, that's a JPEG image, right? Like the poster if it's a movie or something like that. Then again, the automation is a big challenge of this distribution problem. I need enough information to automate it as much as possible and not have this automatic process interrupted constantly by a manual step. So this needs to go there, there's metadata missing, things like that. I want to make sure I get ideally all the metadata to completely automate the process. And I mentioned earlier, there's of course business challenges that go with it as well, and that's compliancy with contract terms and contract rights. And I mean, what I'm talking about here is not how to manage that, but just to provide some enforcement, and that prevents you from doing the wrong thing.